Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to yet another episode on Catching Up with Ella. Today I want to talk about my 30 lessons to adopt before I turn 30. Some of these lessons I've already lived and used in my day-to-day life. Some of these I'm still aspiring for. So this is not a do as I say, not as I do kind of video. This is me commiserating with you. And what's my credentials, you might ask? Well, duh. I am turning 30 next year. Just by having lived on this earth for almost 30 years gives me a certain advantage that you cannot necessarily learn from reading. And believe me, I was a precocious child. When I was in my early 20s, I thought I already know everything because I read a ton. And I did, and I still do. But there's a difference between knowing and being. Knowing something, especially logically, certainly gives you a start, but you won't know things truthfully, like in the core of your heart, in the bones, until you actually have gone through some shit. And believe me, I have done my fair share of suffering. So now I'm ready to spread my wings and spread my wisdom. Also, show of hands who's watching me in their 20s and who's watching me in their 30s and 40s, who's watching me in their teenage years. Because I honestly don't know. Not that I want to cater to a specific age group. I mostly make my content based on what I would watch, what I like to talk about, what I like to see discussed. I'm basically making this video as I would like FaceTiming with my best friend. It's casual. And I have friends in different age groups. So I don't think age matters that much. But it's always interesting because like when I do one-on-one classes, sometimes I get people in their 40s, 50s, and sometimes I get people in their like barely 18 years old. So interesting to know that. With that all said, let's jump into tip number 1 or first lesson of the day. Is that it's okay to go at life at your own pace. And I will not elaborate more on this. It's fairly self-explanatory. I feel like when people turn 30 or 40, all the big numbers, suddenly they feel nervous and anxious about not having done what most people have accomplished. So, for instance, I am single. I have been single for a few years, sometimes intentionally so, and sometimes not. Of my own volition, but I don't think I'm in a rush to get married. I certainly don't want to get married just for the sake of getting married. Am I doing my best to make more friends and more male friends? Yes, but I am not super attached to the result. Because in the past, when I just want to find someone and force it to work, force a relationship to work, it never pans out well. So maybe for you it's work, career goals. Maybe for you it's health goals. But overall, we have our own journey to go on. We don't necessarily have to follow this traditional path, whatever it might look like in your head. You don't have to achieve something by the age of 30 or 40. It's okay. Nobody cares, okay? If you're 30 and starting a new career, nobody cares. If you're 30, still unmarried, child-free, nobody cares. It's all about what you see fit, what fulfills you, what truly makes you happy. Trying new things at any age is never too late. It's never too early. Number 2, I will try not to elaborate too much because some of these tips or lessons are, like I said, pretty self-explanatory. So the next one is the grass is always greener on the other side. Most of the time, your life is better than you can myopically perceive. And other people's lives are not as perfect as they portray, because social media and just in conversations in general, you don't even reveal all the tough parts of your life to other people. So why would they reveal the truest, the most authentic state of their life? So don't envy what other people have. You know, if you gotta envy their qualities, like learn to mimic them, learn to admire people's traits rather than end results, because you can pick up on their traits. You can learn to be more productive. You can learn to be more eloquent. You can learn to be more disciplined. But if you're just thirsting after someone's good looks that they had nothing to do with, that were most likely genetic or done by plastic surgery, or if you're thirsting after someone's fame and fortune and houses and cars, that's not what true happiness is about. And you don't know what people did. Maybe they got cooked parents, maybe they got something fishy going on, maybe they won the lottery. You don't know. Just focus on your life. The grass is always greener on the other side. And sometimes that grass is greener because it's fake. Your grass can be greener if you just water it. I don't know how well that metaphor is going to translate into Chinese, but let's just hope that it works. Number 3, do it scared. You're not going to feel like it. You're not going to feel like it. You're never going to feel like it, okay? Even me, I had to talk myself into filming this video today, even though I just want to go out. I just want to go to Trader Joe's. I just want to get my second matcha of the day. But no, I had set a mission for myself. I was already behind schedule. So I'm just going to do it scared. Not that I'm scared of talking or speaking on camera, but I'm scared to be perceived. I'm perceived all the time now on the internet. And I get self-conscious still. Not necessarily about my looks, but just the way I could have edited my videos better, the way I could have phrased things better. But I still do it. I do it scared. I only do it scared. My heart is always racing when I record a video, when I talk to a stranger, when I go try different things, but I just still do it regardless. The key is to not mind that it's so nerve-wracking. The key is to not mind that it's painful. The key is to always remember trying new things, doing scary things is always going to end up a better result than if you just sat in your living room and not do anything. Number 4, 厚积薄发. The principle of 厚积薄发 applies to successes and traumas. This one probably needs some explanation. So the idea is, by the time you see people succeed, they will have already tried a million different things, and you're only seeing the tip of the iceberg. You're seeing like 1 out of a million things that they've done. But those 1 million things before were not useless. They were accumulating skills, connections, finding out what they're good at and honing in on those good skills and avoiding their weaknesses. And this is pretty self-explanatory. It's pretty obvious to see. But I feel like people don't talk about how trauma builds on itself as well. A lot of times you get into a relationship, or rather you get out of a relationship, and it's a bad breakup. And it's going to trigger this avalanche of emotions, psychotic breaks, mental breakdowns, not because the breakup was actually that deep or the relationship was all that deep. It's only intense because it triggered a part of you that was never healed. I'll just take myself for example. I had gone through 2 massive breakups, truthfully over guys that now with my logical mind I just don't identify with the part of me that saw them as attractive men. But that's beside the point. I was nevertheless really heartbroken, not because I'm like missed out on Mr. Right or they were the ones for me, but no, like it's because I had abandonment issues from my childhood. I was never taught to regulate my emotions. I was never taught on how to navigate social situations. I was just emotionally handicapped for most of my life. In a way, I'm very thankful that these relationship breakdowns happen in such a chaotic way, because it's the impetus of my healing journey. I wouldn't have an urgent reason to look at my past, to psychoanalyze myself. So 厚积薄发 applies to successes and traumas. Number 5, starting small, although close to nothing, can be the difference between night and day. Going for a walk for 10 minutes a day, learn English for 10 minutes a day, sound ridiculously small, but you'd be surprised about how those 10 minutes every single day can build up to something great, because you're not just experiencing linear growth. It's not always like you learn 10 words a day, 10 words a day, 10 words a day, and then by the end of 10 days, you get 100 words. No. Sometimes those 10 words can yield 20 words or 30 words based on how well and how fast you're reading things. Most of the time you experience compound growth that kind of doubles on itself by day 30. I'm just making up numbers, but it's never linear. But you don't get there if you don't have consistency. That's why people get addicted about going to the gym. It's because in the beginning you see no growth, and all of a sudden your muscles just start building on itself when you're seemingly not doing much work. The same happened to me when I was learning English. When I started learning the 3000 vocab, it was I don't know what was wrong with me, but I felt like an idiot learning the most basic 3,000 words because there's a lot of repetition. Sometimes you look it up and then tomorrow you forget and then you have to do it again. But somewhere down the line, I stopped looking words up as often. I still have to look up some complex words. And then I started to develop this ease of comprehension. Started to think in English, and everything kind of just accelerated from there. In the beginning, you have to start small and you have to stay consistent. Starting small but staying consistent beats starting big and not being consistent. Number 6, the dots only connect looking back. This is very famously a line from Steve Jobs' speech or an interview that he gave. He was talking about how he started with taking classes in college or being really into graphic design, being into philosophy, the philosophy of aesthetics, and how they all tie together in his design philosophy with computers, with user interfaces. You know, back then computers were really ugly. The design of the actual hardware as well as the user interface were not only ugly, but not conducive to human design. It's not in alignment with human design, so it's very counterintuitive. And Steve Jobs, having had experience in typology, graphic design, is super into things looking good, more or less, has brought a somewhat aesthetic revolution into tech. And he's talking about how if you were to tell him, hey, taking typology classes is going to lead to this and that computer tech, no one is going to take him seriously. Like, he wouldn't have believed that. And so looking at my own life, there are certain things that are like that. Like, I took up a sales job and learned how to hone in on my sales pitch. I was working at a restaurant, so whether I liked it or not, I had to interact with people on a daily basis. I had to approach strangers. I also saw how the restaurant would market their different menu items every day. And obviously I had learned English myself. So all of these elements of graphic design, marketing, knowing how to perfect my speech, perfect my sales pitch, have converged in this single point of, okay, now you're an English teacher online. But these dots only connect looking back at it. When I was in it, I wasn't necessarily thinking, oh, this could lead to that. And if you think like that, if I had thought like that, I probably never would have gone through with it because it's too risky. It's too overwhelming. It's what if I did a bad job? But no, I, for the most part, was more excited and curious and just going with the flow. And that's usually how creative careers or creative people stumble upon their true calling. Not that I'm saying this is my true calling, but I'm finally hitting a stride with it, you know? I've built an internet presence. I have a sizable, decent following. People recognize my work. They agree for the most part with what I say. So these dots only connected because in the moment I was more intuitive and going with the flow. Lesson number 7. Sometimes it's more impactful to be sharp with your actions and intentions than with your words. The strongest people, the most ruthless people, are soft with their words, but stern and sharp with your actions, with your patterns. For instance, you break up with a guy that cheated on you. You don't go, how fucking dare you? You motherfucker. I'm never gonna see you again. And then continue to see him again. Or participate in this on and off dynamic with people that have stabbed you. Don't do that. That's soft. okay? When you piss off someone and they're just non-reactive and even smiley and they just walk away, it's going to agitate you more because you're like, oh, I mean nothing to you? Like I elicit no reaction from you? You have balls. It's even scarier when they're not agitated. That's what I've been able to do with people that either have stabbed me or just quipped a quick passive reaction remark about my looks, about my skills. One time I had a former employer say, oh, you don't seem like you're doing much these days. And I just go, yeah, I'm not doing much, but I'm making more money than I did at your company. And I said it without aggravation. I wasn't pissed. I was just amused. And I said it in a nice way, and they shut up. They just did not have a comeback. Because it's true. Like, if I could make money by doing less, why would I do more? Do you want to pay me more? No? Then shut your ass up. Cut it out. That's a you problem and not my problem, okay? Moving on to next tip. Pain is a must, but suffering is optional. When your toe gets stubbed, like you run into the corner of your bed, your immediate course of action should be just letting it hurt, containing your hurt, not minding that it hurt, because you know it's gonna end. Like that pain, although very real, very painful, it's gonna eventually come to an end. Like most things, go through a breakup, going through grief, you should sit with your pain. You should observe it. Don't go, oh my god, my life is over. Oh my god, how am I so unlucky? Oh my god, why am I so unworthy? Oh my god, why is everyone else's life so perfect? Am I a loser? Don't attach additional meaning to it. Let it hurt. Don't mind that it hurts. Sit it out. Feel every emotion. Use it as an opportunity to heal your trauma, but don't attach unnecessary additional information to it. Getting cheated by your ex or stabbed in the back by your ex-best friend, because that's a real thing too, doesn't mean anything about you. It means everything about them. Yes, it sucks. Yes, it's unfair. Yes, you probably won't get any justice, although I do believe in karma. I think karma will do justice by you at some point in their life. Sometimes pain is just pain. Pain doesn't have to mean you suck as a person. Pain doesn't mean you'll never find love again. Pain doesn't mean, ooh, I was an idiot. I should have done this or should have done that. How was I stupid? If you knew better, you would. If you knew better, you would do things differently. But we didn't know better. We didn't know better. You didn't know better. I didn't know better. Now you know better. Do better. Don't let your mistakes, don't let your pain go to waste. Take it day by day. All right, I think we have to take a break just because. But I think this is a good pace. Let's keep it at this amount of tips per video and pick it back up next time. Okay, we're at lesson number 8. Jesus, I yapped too much. I thought I was going to go over 30 tips with no explanation, no elaborating, nothing. But here I am, yapping even more. If you enjoyed this video, and if you enjoy this style of videos where I talk about not necessarily English, but things that are going on that are interesting or realizations that are interesting in English, continue watching this series, continue listening to this podcast. Stuck around. All right, I'll see you guys in the next time. Bye.